Welcome and what's good, everybody, to a new episode of the Is podcast. And boy, do you have a good one here for you today. We should have had him on. We could have had him on Friday prior to our teams battling it out for first place in the East prior to the All-Star break. That didn't work out. Your boy was busy bouncing around Aberdeen, Maryland, doing PA announcer duties for travel baseball, and went to the Oriole game that night. And then we thought, well, let's see if we can get him to do it Tuesday. Things couldn't work out Tuesday, but we finally have him for the second time this season as we look ahead to the second half of the 2024 MLB season. The boss and the main voice of NYY Underground, the famed YouTube channel you know across the land, the one and only Great Pete Simonetti.
What's going on, my brother? What's going on, Orioles fans? How you doing? I'm looking forward to the battles ahead and years to come, by the way, not just now.
Yes, not just now.
This is just starting, and I'm excited about it.
Only the beginning, Pete. Well, before we get into, and we will get to that series, I want to get your thoughts on a few Yankees things specific here in a moment. But before we get to all of that, I cannot begin without bringing up now a viral reaction, because it was shown on NBC News of your reaction of the just awful national anthem prior to the home run derby on Monday night. I mean, I'd give you my perspective of it first. So I'm sitting in my chair, mother, doing my hair, got the Allen Iverson look going over here. So I'm sitting in the chair. I have my headphones in. I'm watching it on my phone, and I'm listening to national anthem. I'm like, good Lord, this is terrible. But I didn't think anything of it until the derby ends, and I'm going through Twitter before I go to bed, and I see the video from y'all's live stream pop up, and when you jumped out of your seat, like this, like you were avoiding a 95-mile-an-hour fastball by your arm, I lost it. And when you said the line, I can't even. I'm laughing because it's so fun. Guys, go on Twitter at NY Underground and check it out for yourself. Pete literally in the middle of it just blurts out, "What is she moaning for, you horny fuck?"
It's hilarious, right? Because the beautiful thing about alternative media today is you kind of just get to be who you are. It's like you're sitting down with a group of friends, and what comes out just comes out naturally. And it was funny because we called the entire thing, and people in the chat were telling us they're like, the anthem was bad. It was really bad. And I'm like, all right, it was a bad anthem. We've seen bad anthems before. Nothing is really new. Sometimes it happens. And not everybody's Whitney Houston. Not everybody's gonna belt out one of the greatest anthems of all time. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, it was just a poor anthem, whatever. At the end of our stream, everybody goes, you guys got to get a reaction of the anthem. Like, please put the anthem on and watch it. It's posted everywhere already. Go take a listen. And I'm sitting there going, all right, why not? Let's do it. I never expected what I heard. I never expected that. I was simply going to think like, oh yeah, that's Fergie probably feels better about her life today. Is the only thing I was thinking. Yes. But when you started and you heard it, you're like, all right, there's something wrong. Either this chick is trolling or something. And you come to find out she comes out and goes, hey, I was really drunk and I'm going into rehab. So, hopefully she gets better on that. I don't know if that's damage control. I don't know if it is legit, which I'm not saying it isn't. God bless her, and I hope she gets the help she needs. But let me tell you something, man. That initial reaction right there hit me like a ton of bricks. I mean, I was absolutely stunned by that national anthem. I mean, the moaning at the end of words was just odd. I was like, I'd never heard that on an anthem. We've heard things on anthems before. I ain't never heard a chick start moaning on an anthem. That's some weird. That's some weird.
Yeah, I noticed it. She was like, I was like,
yeah, at the end, like, I even did it. I was like, what was the for? Like, what was that? Like, it was wild, man. And I never expected. The funniest thing is, so as the video went more viral, it did very, very well on Twitter, but it went much more viral on TikTok. And I got people messaging me going, yo, your reaction was on the news today. And I'm like, what? The news? Come to find out, NBC played it. Not obviously not me talking or screaming or saying what we were
Right,
saying,
yeah.
but showed a
Yeah.
clip from it.
Of
And
you jumping like that,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, the one jumping back. So it was a funny moment. And again, hopefully Ingrid gets the help she needs, but MLB got to do a better job on that. Like that can't happen.
Yeah.
That can't
How
happen.
did
The
right.
dude the next day was phenomenal. He was great.
Yeah, it's just how in the world it's I think my personal opinion for the home run derby, the game itself, I get home run derby, have to have a national anthem. I don't think so. But
You don't necessarily need one. Yeah, I agree.
yeah, but if you are, you got to make sure that the person's on that you have is on P's and Q's and not,
Yeah.
wanting a line of coke. They're not hitting up 5 blunts before they go out there, going crazy on the Ciroc. I mean, you gotta you represent our league.
Yeah,
It's just
exactly.
the NFL wouldn't let something like that happen. But
No, they got to do
typical
a better
baseball.
job. That's why I started screaming at Rob Manfred because any
Yeah.
chance I get, I'm gonna go at him.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's he's the commissioner. He's the boss. It's his
That's right.
puppy.
That's right.
Let's jump right into it with the Yankees. So
Okay.
the New York Yankees, they spent a decent, I say about first half of the season in first place.
Yeah.
And the last time me and you talked, they were in first place. They couldn't do no wrong. Outside of that gaff by Boone that Friday night in Milwaukee, the Yankees, meeting expectations early on in the season. Soto and Judge hitting it out the park. The pitching rose to the occasion with Garrett Cole going through his rehab process. And the Yankees they're one game back in the division, 2 back of the Orioles in the loss column. They both have 58 wins as play resumes, when it resumes coming up on Friday. How would you grade the first half of the Yankees season on an A to F grading scale?
I'd give him a B plus. I mean, if you look over the last month, it's more like an F. I mean,
Right.
they've really collapsed. And the scariest thing about the New York Yankees is this has become a trend year after year after year under Aaron Boone specifically,
Absolutely.
which is pretty scary. And it's kind of it's hard to pinpoint it. I mean, yes, we have some older players on this club, and they tend to get injured or they tend to kind of drop off production in the second half. But this year, the team is actually a little bit younger. The oldest guy on the team, I believe, is DJ LeMahieu, who's 35, 36. And he is, I mean, you talk about a guy running on fumes. He's running on fumes right now. Probably one of the worst offensive players in baseball up until this point. But the scariest thing about it is even our young stars, Anthony Volpe, has been arguably one of the worst players in baseball for about 2 months now. I mean, I think his last 200 at bats, he's hitting 208, slugging percentage under 300. I mean, it's been a real mess. There are legitimate flaws that the Yankees are dealing with here that even got a lot of fans daily going, bro, there's too much holes on this team. Like, how do you fix this? And the Yankees are in a situation here, but the funniest thing about all this is we have a show called Nights at the Round Table, where before there's ever a pitch thrown, this is the preseason, right before opening day, we come out there and make our predictions. I made a very, very funny prediction, and the Oriole fans here are going to like it because I did predict that the Orioles would win the division, Yankees in second place, but I put a little stop on that. I said, what I really believe is going to make the difference, whoever shows up big at the trade deadline, that is going to determine who's going to win the AL East. And it's funny because Alex Rodriguez said the same thing during the All-Star break. He said the same exact thing as I did, that he believes is going to come down to who makes the biggest moves. And let's be honest here, Baltimore has some pieces for that. And I just hope the Yankees go out there and fill in some of those holes. But right now, they're just not playing good baseball. Manager Aaron Boone, after they blew the game against Baltimore on, what was that, Sunday, I believe it was.
Yes, Sunday the 14th.
He comes out and goes, well, the team, they're turning the it's the same bullshit for manager Aaron Boone. It's always the same shit with this guy. He just he recycles lines and recycles lines. This time he put them both together. Instead of using one, he said, I'm going to combine them. He said, I'm turning the corner and it's right in front of us. He put them all together. My question to him is, so 2 wins against Baltimore makes us forget. Oh, by the way, Baltimore is also struggling. So 2 wins against Baltimore, all of a sudden now the Yankees are better, yet they got swept by the Reds. They lost 2 or 3 to the Red Sox, 2 or 3 to the Rays, and then they won the 2 games, could have swept the Baltimore Orioles, but they don't, going into a break that the Yankees desperately needed. But it's odd. I mean, I know you want to be positive. The Yankees aren't turning the corner. There's no turner that's been turned right now. They got a tough series. They got the Rays who play us tough. They got the Mets. They got the Red Sox, the Phillies. We could finish this month in a very, very bad position if we don't get our heads right. And I'm sorry, but the overly positive Yankee manager just hasn't worked. And I think a lot of Yankee fans are kind of sick and tired of it. I know I am. I have been for years now. Again, you don't need a hard ass saying, hey, look, guys, we suck. Nobody's asking for that. But you got to be a little more realistic. New Yorkers, one thing about New York is I say this all the time, man, we can smell bullshit from a mile away. And when Aaron Boone talks, he reeks of diarrhea. I mean, you could just smell it out of his mouth. You're like, bro, you got to come on, like be a little honest about the situation here. You don't got to sit there and go, everything is good, guys. Don't worry. It's like, bro, we've been down this before with you. We get it by now. But the Yankees are certainly in a tough spot. They got work to do.
It's and one of the many works they have to do is with their pitching woes, and we'll get to Boone obviously later on in the show. But with the pitching woes, with you had Heel, Rodon, Nestor Cortez. I mean, by the way, did you see Nestor Cortez's tweet from the other night?
I did.
What are your thoughts on
that? I like Nestor. One, Nestor's a good guy. Overall, he's pitched amazing at home. Terrible on the road. It is a little weird to me. It is a little weird to me. The Yankees have created a culture, a new culture that is different than George Steinbrenner, and it's very, very odd. George Steinbrenner famously said, "Winning first, breathing second." And I think every Yankee fan understands the reality of it, that this is no longer the late 90s. It's no longer the early 2000s. Baseball's a little more competitive now, even more so than then. Baseball's a very, very difficult game. Got everybody coming into a game throwing 95 plus. We're entering a different time of talent in Major League Baseball. You're seeing amazing talent across the board. You're seeing teams number 9 hitters popping 20 homers. You didn't used to see that back in the day. So the game is very, very different now. We understand that you're not going to win every year. That's obvious. Winning 2 times in a row is tough now. Winning 3 times, I don't know if we'll ever see it again. But it's very, very difficult. What I don't like is when the players want to lecture us on, but we compete. As a Yankee fan, we don't want to hear that. Because at the end of the day, I don't want to hear my players go, at least we compete every year, guys. No. The goal is to win every year. I don't care about a participation trophy. I don't care that you guys can sit there and go, look, man, we gave it our all this. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear the Yankees say what the Yankees have always said. A season without winning is a failure. And that's simple. That's all there is to it. And, the Yankees desperately needed Derek Jeter back in their front office, something, because they have lost that mentality. They have lost that mindset that it's not just about competing. It is about the ultimate goal, which is winning. And it's odd to hear, I put the pinstripes on every day and fans give us a tough time. Brother, look, Nestor, I love you, man. Ain't nobody want to hear you bitching. I'm a Yankee fan saying, I don't want to hear Judge bitch. I don't want to hear any of you guys on that team put those pinstripes on and start making excuses. Leave the Twitter alone. You could talk about whatever you want at the season end. You could talk about however you want to talk about the season. By all means, go ahead. But to sit there and go, people give us a hard time, and we do compete every year. They gotta remember that. The Yankees haven't won a chip since 2009. 2009. It's not normal for the Yankees.
15 years ago. Yeah.
Aaron Boone's the only manager to not within 5 years take the New York Yankees to the World Series. Only manager in Yankee history.
That's crazy.
It's not good, man. It's not good. Personally, for me, I don't know if I speak for all Yankee fans on this, because a lot of them have been swayed to the side of, well, if you go out there and just get in, you just compete, you could win. I don't. I have George Steinbrenner's mindset very, very much. It's a failed year, and there is no. Well, we got pretty far. We got close. You lost. You lost, and
Right.
that's the Derek Jeter mindset. And this organization desperately, desperately needs that back. And I hope when Brian Cashman is gone, Derek Jeter enters the picture again, because I do believe he will. I think with Cashman there, you'll never see Jeter in the organization.
Yeah, because going back to that documentary that came out with Jeter a few years ago, how
Cashman's
you know,
a snake.
yeah, he and Cashman have a very icy relationship.
He did it
But
to
yeah,
Judge. He did it to Judge also. So,
yeah, that
it's a
too.
regular move of Brian Cashman utilizing the media.
Yep. And I was with I went to, like I told you, I went to 2 out of the 3 Oriole Yankee games from last weekend.
Yep.
Ironically, the one game I don't go to, we win in the shocking fashion that we did. But I was there on Friday night and I was there on Saturday. And I was with a buddy that I met in person for the first time on Saturday from the New York area, lives in Charlotte now. And and this is when Austin Wells went deep, and
Yeah, yeah.
Soto and Judge went back to back, and I'm like, does this weekend like strike up any like optimism in you? And he's like, and this Yankee fan about a few more years older than you. He goes, not really. It's like
Yeah.
it's great to win. It's great to go see your favorite
Mhm.
baseball team play and see them win just on that generic foundational merit. But it's like this really at the end of the day don't mean anything, because it's like
Yeah.
it's still he told me, he's like, it's still Cashman running the show, it's
Yeah.
still Boone running the show, and as long as those two guys are in charge, we our level of success has a very, very, very finite ceiling to it. So,
Agreed.
yeah, absolutely. And if you're Nestor Cortez, due respect, in his last 7 starts, he's got a 1-4 record with an ERA of over 4,
Yep.
40 innings pitched. He's given up 40 hits, given up 40 hits, 18 earned runs, and a whip of 1.18.
Yep.
Really, Nestor Cortez now, not Don Larson, not not
Right.
David Wells. Nestor
Right.
Cortez now.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's like, well, don't count us out. Nestor, your team was in first place the first 2 months of the season,
By a
and
lot.
once the month of June, and once the month of June came around, you know how like when Frank the Tank last year, he put out a video, it was like, well, the countdown has begun. One
Yeah,
loss
yeah,
in
yeah,
June.
yeah.
June Swoon is here for the Mets. Well,
Yeah.
it's the same deal for the Yankees. Once,
Yeah.
like, not the 1st of June, but once around Father's Day weekend starts to
Correct.
creep into the picture, the June
Every year.
Swoon kicks in for the Yankees.
Every single year. Every year.
So it's like, I don't want to hear from you. I don't. Like, you guys were in the driver's seat, and now not only do you have the Orioles in first place, you let the Red Sox right back into the divisional race.
Damn right. That's
So
right.
it's instead of it being a 2-team race with
Yep.
you being the lead dog, it's a 3-team race, and you're
right.
caught in the middle in the jam sandwich.
And you can make an argument that the Yankees may have the toughest challenge ahead. Their August schedule is pretty easy, which is nice to see. But again, it comes down to what the Yankees do at the deadline, and are they going to stand pat? Are they going to make moves? That's going to be the most important thing determining the season. Is that this team desperately needs certain areas of work, and let's also not play. And I play devil's advocate with Yankee fans all the time. I go, hey, look, I've been saying this for a minute. You could go back to, again, before a pitch was ever thrown, I told everybody, this is a different Oriole team. They got different leadership now. They want to add to their payroll. That has kind of already been documented that they will do that.
Mm-hmm.
And they got a ton of prospects with already a very strong youthful club. If you don't think this team is going to look to make a splash at the deadline, I think you're out your mind crazy. And the Yankees better be prepared for that in every single way, and try to fill certain holes that they need to fill to really produce well in the second half. Because you're right what you said. I always thought it would be a 2-team race. I didn't expect Boston to come out of nowhere, but that's Alex Cora. That's what Alex Cora does. Alex Cora is the type of manager that truly does get the best out of average players. You look up and down that Boston Red Sox lineup, you don't go, they're the Baltimore Orioles. Hell, you could even say when the Yankees are healthy, they're not the Yankees. How are they doing this? They've been pitching very well. They're getting so much out of a lot of guys that maybe other managers don't get out of. And Alex Cora got that team playing solid baseball, and they're right in the race with the Yanks and the Orioles. It's crazy.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And Rafi Devers leading the charge. The
Yep.
one guy that they spent money on in free agency last year, has been their best player.
Yeah.
But with Nestor Cortez, I mean, come on, please. And by the way, let in case you talking about increasing payroll in the good farm system my team has, be sure to let Josh Donaldson know. By the way, Mister, your player is going to be a Yankee, a Red Sox, or a
Yeah.
Dodger in 3 years.
Yeah.
Hey, Josh Donaldson.
He came out to help the
Please
Yankees. That's
save
the
it.
best thing he's ever done for the Yankees, by the way.
Yeah,
Besides
yeah.
the grand slam against the Rays, that's his only moment for the Yankees. So he don't have much going on.
Yeah, I said to my Yankee buddy when I saw that tweet the other day, I said, imagine your best moment as a Yankee coming from a tweet when you sitting on your ass unemployed. It's
yes,
just
exactly.
my goodness. Anyway, speaking of Nestor Cortez, he's a large part of the pitching woes for the New York Yankees that has festered throughout this Yankee slide heading into the break as they come out of the break and resume the second half coming up this weekend. I mean, you take a look at who's got the best ERA on the squad. Luis Gil with the 3.17 ERA. The fourth best is Carlos Rodon with an ERA of over 4.5. And Nestor Cortez is about a few solo home runs away from reaching over the 4 mark for the season, too. And then not to mention you get Garrett Cole back. He had an excellent sensational outing against the Orioles on Friday night. But prior to that, and when he made a season debut against us back up in Yankee Stadium in June, it wasn't necessarily the greatest of performances. And then a performance after that, he got knocked around like crazy by the Mets in Queens.
Yep.
Can the Yankees pitching woes be fixed? And who is the number one starter within your team's rotation that scares the living hell out of you going forward?
Well, I'll answer the first part first. Can it be fixed? Yes. Look, Garrett Cole was basically those first couple of outings, I don't want to put too much into it just because the guy didn't really have a spring training. I think he had, I want to say 3 minor league outings. I think the most he got up to like 80 pitches, and then he was back. His last outing against Baltimore looked a lot more like Garrett Cole. The command was back a bit. He was hitting the corners with 95, 96, topped that at 99 a couple of times. So that's the guy that I look. Garrett Cole has too much of a track record for me to sit here and go, I don't know if he's gonna perform well. I think Cole is the least of my worries. Marcus Stroman has been really consistent all year. I mean, he's been one of the better free agent signings when you really look at what he took to get here. $18 million when starters that barely pitch was getting 19, 20 million. Marcus comes over to the Yankees. He goes, I want to be here. I'll take a discount. Just put me on this club. This is where I want to be. And he's put his money where his mouth is, and he's been really, really good. And I believe that consistency could continue. Stroman's a guy that's very fit. He's very, very big into like plyometrics, so stretching and things of that nature, which usually keeps him very durable. And I hope that continues to carry over for him because he's just been such an awesome Yankee this year. Nestor Cortez is Nestor Cortez. I mean, he's been really good at home, terrible on the road. Carlos Rodon may be the key for the Yankees. He's a guy that I've really got behind this year. I tried to get Yankee fans to really give him a chance again. It's his, second year in pinstripes. And he started the year so good. A few outings ago, maybe 5 or 6 now it may be, he goes on the mound at Fenway Park, and the guy has a 2.93 ERA. He was one of the best pitchers in the American League at that point. And then all hell breaks loose. And every single pitch, he's starting every game down 3-0, 4-0, 5-0. And he's just getting smacked around. His last outing, the outing against Baltimore, you saw a couple of 99s. I think he hit 101 one time. So the fastball velo is back. He's throwing 97, 98, 99, 100 again. He's just got to get better. It's weird. He's in one of those moments now where the fastball's working, the breaking pitches aren't. The breaking pitches working, the fastball has no command. And he was in every count that game. It's 3-2, 3-2, 3-2. The foul. You look up in the third inning, you go, this dude got 71 pitches already, like 75 pitches. Like, he's not going to last long. But you could make an argument that stuff-wise, he had the best fastball he had. He just had no command of his breaking pitches. And that's going to be key for him. Can Rodon put it all together? Is there a mental aspect to the game? Look, The pinstripes are heavy. The pinstripes are heavy. It gets to some guys. And Carlos Rodon, the jury is still out on him. Is he able to handle pitching in New York? For me, I believe he can. I think he cares very much about trying to be a good pitcher here. And if he turns it around, it could be more of the guy we saw in the first half. I think the Yankees pitching is set up pretty well. Clark Schmidt expected to come back hopefully by the end of August. He was one of the better pitchers too before he went down. So there's some help there. If I had to give you one guy that's a major concern, I still go back to Carlos Rodon because we've also seen where he is this guy that we're seeing now. And if he is this guy the rest of the year, the Yankees are in serious trouble.
Yeah, it's just the pitch that he threw to Gunnar Henderson. I mean, he just can't do that. And you take a look at his outings, and you have to be better on the road if you want to pitch at the major league level, especially for a World Series contending team. It's just you can't have, well, he looks great at home, but on the road he's trash. Well, what happens if the Yankees are put in a situation in the playoff series where they are on the road? They're either at Baltimore, they're at Cleveland, they're at Houston or Seattle or Texas. They're on the road. They can't say, here, Garrett, save our season. And it's his time to rise up to the occasion. And we're going to do three innings of seven strikeout, 6-run baseball. He gives up 2 home runs. That's a first class plane ticket to Cancun for the winter. That can't cut it. That cannot cut it under any circumstances. So obviously we know that the Yankees have issues. We're not just with the starting pitching, the bullpen as well. We'll get to Clay Holmes later. And then obviously with the bats, DJ LeMahieu still employed. I have no idea why. Ben Rice has done a great job filling in for Anthony Rizzo. Gleyber Torres is awful. Anthony Volpe, obviously the Yankees aren't going to trade him away, but he certainly has become a liability on the team. And then all of a sudden, Alex Verdugo has hit a wall, and he hasn't been the same for roughly, since the Yankees have been on this month-long slide. Do you trust Brian Cashman to make the moves that you need him to make for the Yankees to go where they need to go? And what specific moves, if you have any, do you want Brian Cashman to make at the end of the month?
Yeah, a lot of it is trusting the system. And that's a major problem that the New York Yankees have is, and for an example, they call up Ben Rice early on. And what do they feel the need they had to do? Well, we have to also get J.D. Davis, who was released by Oakland, to platoon with him because, lefty pitching. This is a team that always gets in their own way. And then what happens to J.D. Davis? Well, now he's just rotting on the bench because Ben Rice has showed you, well, if you guys believed in me a little bit, I'm a better player. I can hit lefty pitching also. It's not a problem. The Yankees get in their own way all the time. And the only reason I have a little bit of hope that the Yankees may go out there and make some moves. One, I was recently told that they expect to make moves and they're looking to trade some pitching that they have in the minor league system. They went out and drafted about a ton of starting pitching. They drafted a shit ton of starters. And getting Soto automatically meant, look, we got to go for this. This is 1 year thing. You don't know if he's coming back. I mean, you got a good feeling he will. Just because one thing Hal Steinbrenner cares about is money. There's no bigger money maker than Juan Soto in New York, and he knows that already. There was, I always go back to this. There was a giveaway. The Yankees do these awesome basketball jerseys that are pinstripe jerseys. They got the player's number on it. They did one for Aaron Judge last year. It did good. People were there. When they did Soto's this year, so I got teammates on NYU, one Mario Gomez, shout out to Mario, who goes to every Yankee home game. He told me flat out that day, I have never seen nothing like this. The lines were wild hours before the game. Juan Soto is a marketing machine. And I feel like this year the Yankees know, well, we got to plug some of these holes. But my biggest question to the Yankees is they have to utilize their system. They got one of the best young relievers in AAA right now. His name is Jack Neely. Guy's 6'8", throws 90, 95, 96, 97, hits 98, 2-pitch pitcher, is dominated AA, dominated AAA, and for some odd reason, he is still not in the major leagues. They just got him in AAA where they desperately need pitching. Brian Cashman has done a good job of finding some quote-unquote dumpster diver guys that turned out to be amazing. I think Michael Tonkin is like one of the best pitchers in baseball since the Yankees got him as a reliever. And this dude's velo's up. Whatever Matt Blake has done with him, it's worked wonders. Jake Cousins is another guy they just picked up out of nowhere, I believe in the offseason. I might be wrong. I think it was an offseason move or right before spring training, and he's been in AAA for a while. But he's been amazing. He's like a 1-something ERA, has a wipeout slider, decent fastball. He's been really good. But they're just unwilling to make the right changes. Anybody who would sit down and just learn baseball could look at the New York Yankees and watch them for about 2 weeks and go, why is this guy on the team? Why is that guy play every day? And they would make the easy observations that we don't make and go, yeah, they're problems. So the New York Yankees aren't winning anything if DJ LeMahieu's in the lineup in the second half every day, and they're banking on DJ LeMahieu. So to me, third base is a major priority. They probably need a lefty reliever out the bullpen. They don't have one in their system, so they definitely need a lefty reliever. Maybe your guy's old friend Tanner Scott could make sense for both of these clubs. I think the Orioles could use it.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll see what happens there. But I would say relief pitching, maybe one or two guys tops, because they got Scott Efros coming back. He'll be back probably in a couple of days, which is a big boost. Ian Hamilton's coming back. Birdie's coming back. Former starter for the Pittsburgh Pirates, JT Brubaker, is in the Yankee system. He had very good strikeout numbers for Pittsburgh. He's probably going to be eventually coming out of Yankees pen, but maybe we'll see what happens. I think he had a little bit of a setback, but they have guys in the system that they can plug in. Jason Dominguez is expected to be back by the end of August, the latest. You got to pencil him in immediately. You can't sit back and wait anymore. Dominguez just has to go right into the lineup, and that's it. Let him get a couple of games on rehab and then just throw him right in there. Whoever you got to move, release, DFA, trade to make this type of stuff happen, you got to let these things happen. The Yankees roster needs a bit of a facelift. And I just think more of a dedication to youth is what they need. And there are the names that we hear about that are available out there. And it's going to come down to the Yankees simply saying, hey, do we want to win in 2024? Or do we want to think about next year? And the reason I bring this up, some people might hear that and go, the Yankees think about next year? Well, we've done that a lot, especially at the deadline. We've done that a whole lot. The last major deadline that the Yankees had that Yankee fans in general said, damn, let's go, was 2021. When the Yankees got Joey Gallo, then they just came out of nowhere and got Anthony Rizzo. That's the type of deadline the Yankees need, because I have a prediction. I think the Baltimore Warriors are going to have a crazy deadline. At least with one big move. And if it's Tariq Skubal, I'm going to be disgusted. But if anybody has enough to get him, it'll be you sons of bitches to end up getting him.
I hope so, man. Your lips to God's ears.
I think it's very possible. I mean, when you got, Heston out there that you could possibly move, you got Kalzer you can move. I don't know if they would move Westberg, but they wouldn't move Westberg. I don't think they'd move Westberg either, but they got a lot. They got the kid, what's his name, Basilio. That's
the catcher.
Yes. Catcher down there. I mean, there's a lot that that the Orioles can do and entice the Tigers. I know, look, if I'm the Tigers and I'm sitting back going, they'll give me, 2 top 100 guys that are major league ready, along with maybe 2 other pieces. How do you not make that deal? I know Scuba's going to be great for years, but starting pitching is so tough, and he's had his surgeries and all that, so he's kind of past that. How do you not say, hey, we could plug in our roster maybe 3 or 4 major league ready prospects now? I don't know how you walk away from that. I think they would be doing themselves a disservice.
You don't see me disagreeing.
Now, the Yankees can't do it, so the Yankees wouldn't be able to pull that deal off, and they wouldn't have the balls to do it either if they could. So we'll see if Baltimore does it. And if they do, yeah, that's the move right there to go, look, this division's ours, and we're the World Series favorites. Because they would be, let's be honest. As a Yankee fan, I'll say, ever added Skubal, they're the World Series favorites. No denying that.
Even over Philadelphia?
Well, at least to get to there for the American League.
Oh,
yeah. To be the American League World Series participant, yeah, I think they would be the number one team.
That's fair. That's more than fair. You brought up DJ LeMahieu. Why do the Yankees? And we talked about this when we had you on back in April.
Yeah.
And this is still the same thing, and it's ironic because I was walking to the subway station 2 weeks ago on my way to go to the Justin Timberlake concert, and I said, I said, well, rather than me listen to his music, let me listen to something totally like off base from music, just so I can, keep myself entertained on the walk. And I listened to the spot that you did with us back in April.
Yeah.
And I remember because I asked you the same question. I said, well, why did the Yankees let the problems fester? I brought up Donaldson's name, brought up Aaron Hicks, brought up Joey Gallo, and it's the Yankees still practicing in insanity. Mm-hmm. They still have the garbage players on their roster, the DJ LeMahieu's, the Gleyber Torreses.
Yep.
It's like they are. They almost have like a sick obsession with keeping trash on their team, knowing good and full well they're counterproductive to the team winning games. They can't hit. Their defense is substandard. The fan base, more importantly, can't stand their presence when they are in the field. Yep. It's like, why are we still doing this? Volpe. Yeah, if Volpe, I understand. Young players got plenty in front of him. Volpe, I get. Verdugo, he's a Red Sox. He's not a career Yankee. He's a free agency signing. But look, everybody knows that DJ LeGround out, he's washed. The Orioles, whose pitching got just obliterated last weekend. Every single time DJ LeMahieu came up to the plate, I said to myself, well, at least I know we can get an out of this.
Yeah, of course.
And sure enough, DJ come up to the plate, ground ball to the first baseman, ground ball. If the Yankee player got on first base, be like, well, looks like we're getting a double play here, boys. It's like it's practicing insanity. Why do they continue to stick and fester themselves? It's like a pig in its own vomit with this toxic crap with how the Yankees handle and mismanage the bad players on their roster.
They just make an ass out of themselves all the time. And it's sad to say, because I've always said this about the way that we cover the Yankees. We're not biased Yankee fans at NYU. We're going to tell you the truth. We're going to sit there and go, look, when the team is bad, we'll tell you they're bad. When they're good, we'll tell you they're good. When they deserve a pat on the back, we'll tell you. When they deserve a kick in the ass, we'll tell you too. And when it comes to this, they usually always deserve a kick in the ass, because they will look at you in the face and they'll tell you flat out, I know more than you do. You don't know a thing. What you see is not what you're seeing. He's better. He's great. Don't worry. He's going to put it together. So last year, I'll go back to that real quick, because obviously the Yankees been here with Aaron Hicks. They've been here with Josh Donaldson, IKF. And you're sitting there looking at these players and you're going, guys, cut the deal or cut it off. Like let them go. Let them just disappear. Free up the roster spot. Give it to somebody else. Like, it's as clear as day. You'll be better. It's obvious you would be better here.
So obvious.
So last year, manager Aaron Boone in the offseason, they get into spring training, and Josh Donaldson is expected to be the Yankees' everyday third baseman. And Aaron Boone sits there and goes, you would be crazy to think that Josh Donaldson doesn't have anything left. You'll be out your mind crazy. And I remember I made a video reaction and I said, well, I guess I'm the craziest son of a bitch on this earth, because he's done. And if he proves me wrong, I'll be happy to say it, but I guarantee you I won't be wrong. Let me tell you something about DJ LeMahieu. DJ LeMahieu is about as toast gets. He has 117 at-bats. The guy has not hit a homer. Not one. Not at Yankee Stadium, short porch in right field. You pop one up down the line, you get it out. He's barely come close to hitting a homer. He is hitting 188 with a 284 on base percentage. His OPS is under 500. I might be able to go up there with a wiffle ball bat and put up some better numbers right now than what he's putting up. That's how bad DJ LeMahieu has been. And the fact of the matter is, the Yankees will sit there and tell you He's coming around. No, he looks good. He's got some good swings up there. And I've never seen a guy kill more insects than DJ LeMahieu does. He is human walking pesticides. That's exactly what he is. Aaron Boone is living, breathing melatonin. This guy is a walking pesticide. He comes up there, he kills more bugs on the infield than anybody on God's green earth. This is what you can guarantee. I've told somebody recently, if you took bets on this, you lose money every day. He's a guaranteed ground out. I've never seen a guy hit the ball on the ground, guaranteed, more than DJ LeMahieu. And a lot of that has to do with, look, I'm not insulting DJ LeMahieu as a career ball player. He's been a very, very good major leaguer. He had great years with the Yankees, great years with the Rockies. The guy is approaching, I believe he's approaching 36, I want to say. He is 36 years old now, I should say. This is a young man's game. 36 is not old in life, but in baseball it is. DJ LeMahieu is older and he's done. The Yankees are so stupid. Ja, I'm going to tell you this. Do you know the 3-game set with the Baltimore Orioles? Yes. I don't know, you being an Orioles fan, maybe you don't pay attention to this, but they had called up York Vivas.
I noticed that on Friday. Yes, I did.
On Friday, they called him up. He was there for a 3-game set. Now, he is expected to be the potential replacement for Gleyber Torres at second base. He's also played a lot of third base in the minors this year, much better defensively at second base. He was an offseason trade with the Dodgers. Yankees traded one of their young prospects for one of their young prospects. A real baseball deal. A baseball deal doesn't happen that much anymore. You know, we feel this guy fits us better. Maybe he fits you better. Let's trade 2 young prospects. Cool, let's do it. Vivas has got healthy, and he's been tearing the cover off of the ball in AAA. I forgot how long it was, but he had like an 1,100 OPS for a long stretch here. Just playing amazing baseball, looking good at second, doing a decent job at third base. The Yankees call him up, and they go, "Hey, my guy, welcome to the major leagues. Now have a seat on the bench and just stay there." And then after it's over, they go, "Hey, thank you for your service. Back to AAA you go." Dumbest organization in Major League Baseball. But they're the only team, by all means, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I know for a fact, typically when Baltimore has an injury, they usually go to their system. They don't go, let me get the scrap heap DFA guy, and I'll plug him in over a youthful player for 2 months. I'll just go.
They don't do that.
That's not the way of baseball's a young man game now more than ever. You're seeing guys go from AA to the majors. You're seeing guys get drafted. And if they're really good at Paul Skeens, which is a rare guy, but they go up levels quick. The New York Yankees will sit there and go, we got DJ LeMahieu, so I can't sit him 1 game. I can't sit him 2 games. And I was so stupid myself to fall for the madness. And I made a video and I said, what I would believe would happen here is that LeMahieu or Torres will DH and York Vivas will play these 3 games. He didn't sniff that bad. They sat there and said, we'll keep letting DJ LeMahieu kill insects, and whatever the hell Gleyber Torres does, Gleyber Torres could do. And it is what it is. He's out of the 2, Gleyber Torres has been hitting way better as of late. I think he's kind of getting back to a bit in the form, 270 something over, I think, his last 15 games. But DJ LeMahieu is a clear sign of a player that is just, he's done. He's done. And for the Yankees to continue to run him out there every day like everybody else is stupid and they know better, it's like you guys are making the same mistake you made again. Why are we doing this? When you got a young kid in the minors that can take it over. But what I do believe will happen, I do believe they're going to add an infielder. And I think that DJ LeMahieu is going to go, or what'll end up happening is they'll trade Gleyber Torres and DJ LeMahieu will still be here. I could also see that happening. So that wouldn't shock me one bit. That wouldn't shock me one bit. As a guy that's finally starting to get it going. He's a free agent, so it is what it is. You can just let him walk and let him go. But I do believe that the Yankees will add an infielder. Who that is, I don't know.
Another edition of Smarter Yankees coming up at the trade deadline.
That's right.
But another issue, not just with the pitching, not just with DJ and Gleyber being automatic outs, big issue, and we talk about, and it's more so something that gets brought up in football a lot of times, because football, you play your division. You play your division what
Yeah.
2 times 3? You play them 6 times. So
Yep.
football, it gets heightened a little bit more in terms of head-to-head record than more so in baseball because you play them so many times. You figure by default, it's going to even out because you play them 13 back in the day, 19 times. The good teams, the average teams, is going to level their record's going to level themselves out. But
Correct.
the New York Yankees against the American League East this year are 16 and 19.
Yep.
That's a problem. You can't win. I mean, my listeners know with my football team, you can't win the division going 2-4, 3-3. I understand the division's tough, like with the AL East of baseball, but it's still no excuse. You can't go out there every single time and get your asses kicked by the Cleveland Browns, by the Baltimore Ravens. You got to show up and you got to win. New York Yankees, same deal. I understand the American League East is tough, but it hasn't changed. There's no excuse. If you want to win your division and if you want to prove your worth and your value as a championship team, you got to know how to beat teams within your division. And the two teams that has given the Yankees the most trouble in recent memory, it's been the Red Sox and it's been the Orioles.
Yeah.
Why has that been the case? And do you think the Yankees know it? And if they know it, will they do anything to address that major flaw that they have on their resume?
Look, I go back to just the overall mindset of the Yankees. I've been saying this for a long time. Here's a team that somehow every single year since 2018 lack fundamentals. They lack accountability. They lack urgency. And Jai, mind you, I've been saying this since 2019. And it's nice now that the Yankee pundits, guys like Jack Curry, are coming out of post-game shows going, look, this team just seems to lack urgency. It's like they don't understand where they are. And I've been screaming this at the top of my lungs. And the reason why it's relevant is when it's time to step up against your division, the Yankees don't. They don't. People got so mad at me in the beginning of the year when Baltimore came in and won 3 or 4. And the Yankees record was it's beautiful and it's great. And NYYU, mind you, everybody on our team, we all agreed that this is a problem. And we talked about the problem. And a lot of fans, how can you be negative when the Yankees record? And I kept saying, one thing I've learned about records is it only takes a tough month and it goes away. Like, people got to understand the record. It's cute when it's April. It's cute when it's May. It's cute, but that could go away very, very quickly. Or things are getting tighter and you're looking up going, damn, now we're in second place. What happened? And I kept warning people, take it easy, but it's a telltale sign of when teams like the Orioles come in and they just beat us up. Boston seems to beat us up. Even Tampa on a down year just won 2 or 3. Tampa is sitting back going, hey, MLB trade deadline, we may have a lot of guys available to trade. We're open for business. What do you guys want to make of it? They come in and beat the Yankees 2 of 3 just recently. You got to beat your division. And I'm sorry, but I go back to the team not being prepared enough for these moments. And I put it a lot on coaching. Yes, is there injuries? 100%.
Yes.
But here's what I'll say. And I made this point a lot. Shout out to Johnny's Lasagna on NYYU. He made this great point in the post game. And I always give him credit for it because I think it was a brilliant point. The Yankees at one point, I think they lost 6. They were 6-17 or 6-16, something miserable like that. Mind you, the Yankees have a couple of injuries. Nothing like you can't sit there and go, well, we got 4 of our starters on the IL that now we have nobody in the lineup. No, that's not the case. You cannot do that. You can't go 6-17. The Yankees have a good enough team that can. You got at least got to be playing 500 ball. The fact of the matter is that when some stuff goes bad on this club, they just crash land, and it's never good. It's like, how do you get out of this now? And I'm sorry, but to me, that has a lot to do with mental preparation of this club, the mental fortitude of this club, the want to go out there of this club, and the urgency overall of sitting back as a manager and going, this ain't okay. This ain't okay. And it's weird. And I love Aaron Judge, and I don't never knock Aaron. I think Aaron Judge is the most dynamic player in baseball. I don't think there's an offensive player in baseball that comes close to Aaron Judge. I just think he's an atom bomb when it comes to baseball. Even for Aaron Judge to go, well, we've been hitting good. When the Yankees have been losing like crazy, Derek Jeter would have never would you have heard those words come out of Derek Jeter's mouth. And I don't like to be the guy that compares, but I'm sorry, you are the captain, and I hold that to a standard. You guys shouldn't be accepting of losing. If somebody came to me as the captain, I wouldn't have to knock the team. I would simply go, look, for us during this time, we're struggling bad, and that's 100% fact we are. But we have to find ways to win games. It's that simple. We haven't hit with runners in scoring position. Starting with me and everybody else in this clubhouse, we got to play better baseball. He'll blame himself. Oh, well, I got to do better. Brother, you can't do much more. You can't do much more. For you to say, well, I got no. Just say, hey, look, it starts with me, but everybody here got to step up. We have to step up as a club. It's that simple. Nobody wants to hear, well, I got to. Aaron, come on, brother. We all get it. We understand it. You are
right. The fans aren't stupid. You are the team, but there aren't 9 Aaron Judges on. Right. There aren't 9 Aaron Judges on the team. Like the Met game for a perfect example. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Met game, perfect example. If it wasn't for him, Yankees would have gotten destroyed in that game too. It was the final score of the game like 9-7. He had the grand slam.
Yep.
All the other players in the lineup did nothing. You were the only player. So it's like, so again, like you say, BS in the Yankee fan, because because Aaron Judge, as great as he is, you all love him. When he opens up his mouth, it's like, Aaron, like, we love you, but we're not idiots. Like when you say we're hitting good, no, you're hitting good.
Yeah,
Mayhew isn't hitting good. Torres ain't hitting. Verdugo's not hitting.
Yep.
Trevino not hitting.
Yeah.
You're hitting good. All the other 8 players on the lineup ain't hitting. So like cut the crap, please. But I totally get that.
No, and as a Yankee fan, as a New Yorker, it's just a different expectation. And again, a lot of people get confused when I say this stuff and they go, yeah, but what do you want him to say? And I simply just say, look, nobody's asking him to throw anybody under the bus. But let's be real with the situation here. Just simply say, look, starting with me, that's fine. You could say starting with me, that's okay. But the rest of it, we all need to step up as a club here. We got to pull it together and step up right now. The entire club has to do better. To put it on yourself when we're like, Aaron, look, you're probably the leading MVP candidate, my guy. I don't think that's it. I think we all know that's not it. So that's my issue with certain things he says. Other than that, Aaron Judge is the friggin' man.
He's too, and another thing is he's too good of a teammate for his own good.
Correct. And so, he's very much a leader by example. I don't know how much, I'm not in the clubhouse and I've kind of heard things. I don't know how much of a vocal leader he is. And that's also okay because Derek Jeter wasn't necessarily a vocal leader. He led by example. But Derek Jeter had enforcers in that clubhouse that if there was an issue, he'd go, hey, Jorge, deal with that. Hey, Tino, can you deal with this? Paul, can you deal with this? I mean, who does Aaron Judge go to? And that's the problem on this club. Who is the guy? You can't, as much as I love Anthony Rizzo, brother, you're hitting 200. You're going to come talk to me about hitting? You're not doing it.
Right.
Got to start with you first before you open your mouth. I mean, the only other guy that can do it is Juan Soto. But let's remember, Juan Soto's his first year as a Yankee, and he's 25 years old. He's a young kid still. Yeah, it doesn't mean he can't be a leader, but I don't know if Aaron Judge has that backing in the clubhouse. And look, this has been Aaron Boone's team for a while. This is who they are. They all start sounding like Aaron Boone. It's crazy. It's like an episode of Black Mirror. It's weird. It's like they all of a sudden, it's like he does this thing where it just rubs off on everybody and they all become him. It's weird.
Yeah. It's just, it's like you have my show sheet in front of you because literally the next thing on my list was Aaron Boone. And let's get into it. Because you said, well, does Judge have another player? Well, at least in one moment up in Toronto was Marcus Stroman, who busted the balls of Torres pretty hard, and everyone was all up. And now listen, Myself personally, I am no Marcus Stroman fan by any stretch of the imagination. I think he's a pitcher that thinks he's better than he really is, who suffers from Napoleon complex. But I had no problems with him calling out Torres, and for Judge to go, well, it's not what we do here. Well, just because it isn't what you do here doesn't mean that it wasn't appropriate for that moment, time, and place and setting, because it is. Yep. Because the Yankees, objectively speaking, the Yankees don't have that guy that can give them, like you said, a kick in the ass. They don't have that guy that can give them a fire and brimstone speech, in the bottom half of an eighth or ninth inning, trying to put together a comeback and win in the midst of a 5-game. They don't have that person. They have, like you said, they have a therapist. They don't have a leader. They don't have a manager. They have a guy that says everything's going to be okay. We're turning the corner. It's right there in front of us. Get the milk and cookies, like you said. You said do what you want day at work. Kick your feet up with some milk and cookies. Listen to some Taylor Swift and go.
Get in, go take a nap in a sleeping pod for a few hours. That's it. It's easy. It's easy come, easy go. That's it. It's easy come, easy go. And I'll break that whole thing down for him. Happy you actually bring that up. I wasn't expecting to talk about that again, but I'm happy you did bring it up, because I think it kind of signifies everything, right? I don't think, look, I've had my issues with Marcus Stroman in the past. A lot of comments he made, directed towards the Yankees, directed towards Yankee fans. I think he even shit on Garrett Cole at one point. Fine. It is what it is. He's a New York guy. He kind of goes about his business the way he does. But I appreciated what he did in the moment. And man, oh man, I gained a respect for Marcus Stroman that I may disagree with a lot of the stuff about his career or whatever. Is he as good as he thinks he is? All of that. But he gained my respect forever in that regard. Here's what happened in that situation. And I've been breaking this down for a lot of people, and I think a lot of people agree with me now. That's what you saw right there is what you call pent-up frustration, because it's not handled by anybody else. So it's like, okay, you're on a ball club. You see the guy that's struggling every single day. He's in the lineup every single day. He's making errors. His head doesn't seem to always be in the game every day. And you're looking around, and you come in the morning, and he's not out there taking BP. He's not out there taking extra fielding work. He got his feet up at his recliner, at his locker. And you're looking around going, I can't be the only dude saying this. And there's whispers among nobody says nothing. Nobody says nothing. Boone, don't talk to him. Nobody says a thing. And then eventually what happens is a player blows up. And what you saw right there to me was not just Marcus Stroman going, you got to make that play, because it was a tough play anyway. It's not Marcus Stroman saying, it's the pent-up frustration that, bro, I am tired of this. And nobody says a thing. Because when he went back in the dugout and he started hitting his glove, Marcus Stroman said, what was it again? He said, have something, not preparation. Oh man, I can't remember the exact word he used, but basically he was saying, basically have some heart. Like, where are we at? Why are we just sitting here dead? Like, wake up. And it was pent-up frustration at a guy like Gleyber Torres. And my biggest problem with what Aaron Judge did that day, it's not about saying, hey, look, man, we don't want to show up our teammate. Let's keep this in the clubhouse. We can have a discussion after this. It's, why did you feel the need you had to do that in front of cameras? It's almost like it was planned. Like, hey, since he made the outburst on camera, make sure you talk to him on camera.
I'll correct him on camera. When in reality, you should have said, hey, come, let me talk. Let's talk down here. Let's calm you down. Let's go talk down here real quick. And just simply say, hey, Marcus, look, we're all upset. I get it. Don't show that on the field. Like that's the one thing we don't want to show here. But we're gonna discuss this. We're gonna talk about this. I feel you. I'm there with you. We'll make sure we have a discussion about this afterwards. I'm more okay with that. But for him to do it on camera, I'm like, man, look, the Yankees, I don't think it was also too shocking that after that they scored like 14 runs. I mean, they went off. Yeah.
And I made a tweet about it. I joked. I said Marcus Stroman showed a bit of testosterone and it rubbed off on the rest of the team. And look at them hitting now. And everybody, the tweet went crazy because People recognize the same things. I don't want to show the guy up. Bro, it was as clear as day, in my opinion. I'm more than certain if I sat down with Marcus Stroman after all this and I said, hey, what was that about? He would say, look, man, I just had enough of it. I guarantee you his response would be, I just had enough of it. And it wouldn't be that was just a sporadic thing in a moment. It wasn't. It wasn't. It definitely wasn't. It was. And mind you, he ain't the only one. People forget about this. Last year, or the year before that, it was one of the years I think he was struggling also. And Garrett Cole, he had a ground ball, made it, and Garrett Cole went like this. And then just looked at the Yankee dugout. Like, what are we doing?
I remember.
What are we doing?
I remember that.
Mm-hmm. Done that. Nestor Cortez has done it with him. So me just watching, putting two and two together, to me, that was pent-up frustration. And I give Marcus Stroman credit for showing that he has a set of balls. That simple.
I agree. Now, I tweeted out all the time. I say it on my show. I criticize Aaron Boone when it's time for me to put my broadcaster's hat on. But when it comes time for me to put this hat on, I love Aaron Boone. I love Aaron Boone so much. He is the, if you, by the end of the world, and or let me put it this way, by the end of society as we know it, and there's like a new version of society roaming here on earth, and they go back in history and they say, who are the most unserious people to ever walk the face of the earth? You'll get comedians, you'll find politicians, you'll get social media influencers, but the person who'll be within the top 5 of that list will be Aaron Boone. He is the best. He thinks you Yankee fans are idiots. He thinks you guys don't have a brain. He says, oh, Garrett Cole's debut, let me take him out after 60 pitches and throw some garbage bullpen, some garbage reliever out there, Ramon Urias, and he hits a 3-run home run, put the Orioles out in front.
He's done it in the postseason with Cole.
He'll take Garrett Cole out in postseason games. He'll have Austin Trevino's behind home plate in extra innings of a tight game against the Orioles with Cedric Mullins on base and have him throw the ball allow him to throw the ball into left field and literally throw a game away. And then his post-game comments is just the best. You know, whether it was, I thought it was, can you play that? I thought it was kind of bullying, frankly, to be quite honest. Getting bullied.
Yep.
You know, I just felt like it was kind of bullying, frankly.
Under my umbrella, hey.
I love that. Every single time you guys lose, I tweet that out. I love it. I don't blame
opposing fans. I don't blame them. I don't blame opposing fans. I get Red Sox fans all the time going, man, I pray you guys lock him in long term again.
Lifetime contract. And then it's like, the other day, like you said, after the team explodes in the 9th inning, Clay Holmes, Volpe, and Verdugo, it's, we're turning the corner and it's right in front of us. I mean, it's just
man. To the fact that you got the most positive Aaron Boone pundits coming out being like, bro, you got to stop recycling the lines. Like, nah, this is getting me aggravated. Like, enough is enough. And again, I always salute my NYU team, myself. I pat myself on the back because we've been so ahead of this. We've been so ahead of this stuff with Aaron Boone. And, the Yankees, to me, just remind me of a club that if you get a manager, you want somebody with experience. Somebody that's kind of been there and done that. And if you really do want to go to a new guy that's just getting into managing, give it to somebody who's won with the Yankees for real. Beg a Jorge Posada to come in. Beg somebody that's been there and done that with this club and know what it means to be a New York Yankee. I'll argue that shit with anybody any day. I don't think Aaron Boone truly understands what it means to be a Yankee. That when he says stuff like that, he's disgracing that interlock in NY. When a grown-ass man as a manager goes, I think I was bullied today. To me, it's one of the worst moments in Yankee history. And people always think I'm nuts. I was the only person writing stuff about it, making videos about it when it happened. And I'm sitting around going, let me get ahead of this because this is going to be major news. And it was crickets. Nobody talked about it. And I said a grown-ass man that's a manager of the New York Yankees said an umpire bullied him. George Steinbrenner is spinning in his grave so quick, he's all the way in China by now. That he's like a drill just going through the crust of the earth. That's how quick he is spinning. Like a drill right to the crust of the earth. And this is what we're dealing with now. But I'm not overly convinced. It could be the end. It may not be. But there was a lot of rumors in the offseason that the Yankees had meetings, and apparently a lot of higher ups and execs really targeted Aaron Boone. And there was also a lot of anonymous sources via the New York Post that said they're shocked that Aaron Boone has not caught on as quick as they thought, that he needs an enforcer. He needs to be tougher on the players. Well, guess what? When you've been the Muffin Man since 2018, you can't all of a sudden become a drill sergeant. It doesn't work that way. You can't all of a sudden start telling guys, hey, man, not this year. Well, bro, you've been dancing around as the Muffin Man since 2018, singing Rihanna songs, giving us cupcakes. All of a sudden now you're giving us protein bars and weights. It don't work that way. You can't be spitting bullets all of a sudden. It doesn't work like that. And nobody's going to take it seriously. Right. So the Yankees are more than likely very much in due of a change at manager. I've been saying it for years. And will they? Probably not. But should they? 100% they're in change for a manager. They need a different philosophy. They need a new voice.
What do you say to the people that say, because there are Yankee fans out there, I see on Twitter all the time, it's like, well, Aaron Boone isn't really the problem with the team. It's more so it's a Cashman thing. If you think, a new manager for the New York Yankees is going to change anything, you're crazy. What do you have to say to those responses? Because I know with me, it's like, even if that were the same, and I said on my show, I get it that the Yankees are analytically based driven and everything, and Boone may not be the one that manipulates the bullpen management. He may not be the one that writes the lineup cards. But you know what he is responsible for? He's responsible for Gleyber Torres dogging it down the first base line. He's responsible for when the team, and I'm quoting you because you say it all the time, he's responsible for when the team is either in a tight pitcher's duel or gets punched in the mouth early in the game, and the cameraman takes his camera and pans the dugout. He's responsible for when, as you say, the players look like they're at a funeral when they're losing when they're losing at home in a game. He's responsible for that.
Yep.
Because I say all the time, we think the Yankees are the only team in baseball that utilizes analytics? No.
Well, of course not. Everybody does.
The manager, exactly. But in moments where the manager doesn't have power, they still have power. They have power over the clubhouse culture, and they have power over preaching the fundamentals and making sure that their team is fundamentally sound, and that they just play with the heart and just the urge and the will to win, which the Yankees under Aaron Boone, when things get tough, they simply do not do.
Agreed. And no, I don't disagree exactly with fans when they say that about Brian Cash, because what their assumption then is that, well, if they got rid of Boone, he's going to hire another yes man, isn't he? Here's my thought process on that. Would he, though? And the reason I say would he, though, is because did they learn from this? And if there are Yankee executives going, bro, he needs to be tougher. At some point, I think what happened was they went with Joe Girardi. He won a World Series with the Yankees. He took him to one game in 2017. They got rid of him. What their thought process there was, we got this really good young team on the way. A lot of those guys flamed out and they didn't become what they thought they would. But maybe we get a manager here that is a little nicer or isn't as tough. It makes a little more relaxing environment in the clubhouse. Maybe that makes us a much better club going forward. And these guys have a manager where, again, the environment is loose. They'll play better ball. Mm-hmm. What it's been the exact opposite. It's been the exact opposite of that. And it's been really bad. And maybe they'll learn from that. Hopefully that will be the case. What I would do personally, if I was Hal Steinbrenner, if Yankees don't win the chip this year, I would simply say you're both fired. I mean, I think that's the easiest way. And that's the way I say this a lot. If I'm the boss of the Yankees and I'm Hal Steinbrenner, why am I getting hit with tomatoes? Why are people mad at me? I got a $300+ million roster. So for me, I'm sorry, being the boss of the Yankees, I would simply go, hey, guys, look, I'm sorry, but I'm not taking this heat. I'm not going to take this shit. You both are fired. The minute he does that, he'd become a hero in New York, and there'd be nothing but positive things to say about Hal Steinbrenner. And here's my other problem. The Yankees front office, the crazy thing about it is they got some of the best of the game. They got 3 former GMs that are very successful. They all went to a World Series. Some of them won a World Series. You got Jim Hendry, who took the Cubs to the World Series. You got Omar Minaya, who took the Mets to the World Series, one of the best scouts in baseball history. And you got Brian Sabian, who reigned over a dynasty and put together a great club, who worked under George Steinbrenner. He came up under him. If I'm Hal Steinbrenner, I'm sitting there going, man, but I'm so close. We're really good friends. He's basically family. How do I go? Who's going to be the one? Because I can't do it. I'm not this big baseball guy. I'm not going to figure this stuff out. It's as simple as saying, I need to get Jim Hendry in here. I need to get Omar Minaya in here, Brian Sabian. Put together your plan for this organization. I want it back within 3 days, and you guys come do interviews back to back to back. Pick your best guy and tell him, take over the organization in your vision. Give him full control like you did Brian Cashman. Let a new voice come in and fix this mess up. We'll see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen going forward. I don't know what's going to happen next year. There's obviously been rumors out there that we've heard. I know Ken Rosenthal mentioned a couple of different things of Yankee management. Can there be a swap with Boston and Alex Cora becomes the Yankees manager next year? He mentioned that specifically. I would love that. I would love it, and I welcome him with open arms. But we'll see what the Yankees do. They definitely got problems in the front office, no question about it.
Right, and it's just the thing with Boone, the excuse making, piss poor fundamentals, lack of accountability. Going back to the Stroman thing with Glaber, that's what gets Yankee fans so pissed off. Because you're their boss. You're not their therapist. You're not their friend. Steve Harvey has a line in a stand-up, talking about parenting with his kid. This is over 15 years ago, back in 2008. He says, "You go ahead and you make all your friends at your school. I'm your daddy. Because if you keep messing around and acting however you want to, they ain't gonna be having no buddy ass activities in a minute. Be dead off in your ass." Same thing with Boone. You cannot be their friend. You can be friendly, you can be approachable, but you have to hold you have to know how to walk within your role as being a boss. I hear Oriole players all the time, I forget who it was it was Gunnar Henderson talking about Brandon Hyde. Referred to him as Brandon or as Skip. And he talks to him from a place that he holds authority. Now I got my plenty of issues with Brandon Hyde too, but I know at the end of the day he's not their therapist. He's their manager. Correct. And I know that in certain areas Aaron Boone lacks, Brandon Hyde doesn't. And it's like you would think that the Yankees would be smart enough when they look at Hyde and look at Cora. It's like. And it's ironic. The two teams they can't beat got better managers than Aaron Boone. And
I think the majority of the league got better managers than Aaron Boone, to be honest with you.
Right. And you say to yourself, well, if that's working for them, why don't we try to do something different? But again, the practicing of insanity, devoid of a pulse and white knuckler games, everything. Right. By the way, you went off on him on the 4th of July for the standoff. Now,
yes.
I said my opinion was Aaron, like you said, you can't go from Mr. Muffin Man to Drill Sergeant, which makes Aaron Boone look very disingenuous.
Yeah.
But I think at the fact of the matter of it is, because I always historically have looked at the standoff as a half serious kind of a gimmicky thing to do before a ball game anyway. And you didn't have that exact same mentality in terms of Boone waving his players off the field. Explain to me your reason of why you got so upset at Boone.
No, very, very. It's actually it's a lot more simple than people think. It's a moral victory. This is a team who hasn't won anything at that time. If you see when Ashcraft, I believe Ashcraft was the last guy left for the Reds. When he turns around, that team is pumped. They're screaming, yeah, let's go. The Yankees have been in a wreck up until that moment. When Aaron Boone says this and calls the guys in, you see them turn around. Jahmai Jones throws his glove. Other dude goes like this, puts his head down and smacks the thing. It's a moral victory. You couldn't even lead this club to a moral victory. Something as small and silly as a standoff that these guys are sitting there on July 4th. It wasn't like it was the 12th of July. It was a day to honor America. And they sit there and they're doing this on the 4th of July, the actual day. It's not like these guys do this all the time and you see it happen often. But on top of that, your team is struggling horribly. To sit in that moment and go, guys, come on, cut it out. Let's go. Get in here. Get it. It's a moral victory thing. Let them get the moral victory. That's it. Like he said, it wasn't interfering with the start time of the game. He said this afterwards. It wasn't interfering with it. Then why stop it? Give the team a moral victory, man. That's the reason why I got so upset as I did. Give them a moral victory. Give them something to go, hey, man, cool. It's pat on the A. And some people sit there and go, does it really mean something? Yeah, it does. Look what happened that game. Look what happened that game. I'm not saying that's the reason. I'm not saying, anything like, I'm just simply saying it is something to hang your hat on and go, we got a moral victory. Let's go out there and win this ball game now. And the Yankees needed something like that. They needed a little moment. Anything could help. You'll be shocked of what things could do for a club. And anything like that could help. And they needed that chance to have a moral victory. And again, Aaron Boone just said, no, not today. Not today.
Attitude reflects leadership. Remember the Titans 2000.
Yep.
To the Orioles and the Yankees series that was during the weekend.
Yeah.
Before I get to the game itself, Friday night. Now, I was in the building, and one thing, Pete, and you know about me is that when my team is bad, you can't talk to me. When they, and keep in mind, they had just gotten swept by the Cubs and looked disgusting while doing it, uncompetitive, starting pitching in the toilet, bullpen in the toilet, hitting with runners in scoring position in the toilet. So I'm literally, I'm fuming. And I'm saying to myself, I am not looking forward to coming back. And I never say this. I am not looking forward to coming back here tomorrow afternoon for the 4:00 game. Those words actually came out of my mouth as my team was in first place in the best division in all of baseball. That's how annoyed I was. And ninth inning, Kjerstad gets hit in the face. And a few moments later, bench is empty. An altercation behind, right at home plate. My thinking as an Oriole fan is this. Obviously, Clay Holmes is not hitting them on purpose with a 2-strike.
Of course.
But my philosophy is this. I can't listen to anybody wearing a New York Yankee uniform complain about the Orioles being a little bit upset, to put it to you that way. I can't listen to them complain about the Orioles being upset when they didn't react in the greatest of ways, or I should say in the calmest of ways, to rephrase it better. They didn't react in the calmest of ways when Judge and Soto got hit and received brushbacks that weren't above the neck. Because when you throw a fastball at 96 at somebody's head, intent or not, all bets are off the table.
Of course.
Now at that moment in time, I was like, okay, well, this is pent-up frustration because the team's been awful for essentially all week long. Kjerstad, one of their young players who was the only player on that lineup at the moment in time that was hitting, got hit in the face with a fastball, and then the history from the series back in June. So when I did it, I said, you know what? I'm cool with it. The team finally showed some life, and I'm literally, Pete, I'm in the upper deck in left field, and I'm like, and I'm screaming at the top of my lungs, thank you, show some heart, show some fight, show some, I'm going berserk. The whole stadium erupts, and the Yankees sucked in and everything else. So I'm like, okay, maybe this is the spark that we need. So we go into Saturday, Grayson's on the mound, and we got a chance to punch back, and literally, you know what it was like? It was like watching the old school Yankees under Torrey with Jeter and both sides. It was like watching the Yankees from my childhood. That wasn't I don't know what they did with what y'all did with Aaron Boone that day, but that was not an Aaron Boone managed Yankee team. That was a Yankee team from 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I said, you want to bark up this tree?
It was a huge moment. It was a huge moment.
We'll have Wells hit a 3-run home run in the first inning. Yep. We'll have Judge and Soto go back to back. We'll have I said with my Yankee buddy from Charlotte, I said, yeah, Luis Hill, he's going to look like Don Larson here today. Yep. Lo and behold, that's exactly what the hell he looked like. And they didn't just beat the Orioles in those 2 games. They humiliated them. And it made me sick. Made me sick. What's your reaction from those first 2 games and the bench clearing incident on Friday night?
Yeah, it's funny going back to Friday. Look, nobody ever wants to see a player get hit in the head. Obviously my first reaction was, anybody saying that's intentional is nuts. And there was a lot of people out there going, that was intentional. And I'm like, bro, come on now. Let's get real here. And on top of that, too, Kerstead of all people, you're going to sit there and go, this young kid who just came up, we're going to throw at this kid's head of all things. Clay Holmes, who, by the way, has horrible control. And if people don't know that about Clay Holmes, half of the time, you don't know where the hell the ball is going. And it was starting to rain. So the ball's it was starting to rain at that time. You were there, so you would know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It started to rain right around, I say right before the bottom of the 9th inning. In between innings, it started to rain. It rained for the first time all night during the game. It rained right before the Orioles were about to come up the bat.
So you started to have that take effect and everything else. And again, not making excuses here for Clay Holmes, but it wasn't intentional. That's one. Brendan Hyde's reaction honestly doesn't bother me. And I said that multiple times. Now, as you watch the video over and over again, I think he looks back at Wells and Holmes and he says, F you.
To Clay Holmes.
To Clay Holmes,
he did.
like 2 times.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
And I think that's what, because if you see Wells is like looking at the dugout, like, what the hell? Like, this was not intentional, obviously. I get you're being upset and angry. What I think that led to, and I wish it, and in many ways, I wish it didn't, because look, I even put on Instagram, I put under a comment, I respect it because the guy's defending his player. And I even had other Yankee fans be like, defend him from what? What are you talking about? I'm like, the dude got hit in the head. It's not like he got hit in the ass and Hyde went nuts, because everybody be looking at that going, bro, what the hell are you telling F you for? Like, you're trying to get your team pumped up by just starting something for no reason. When a guy gets hit in the head, it's very different. It's a different situation. It's a very, very scary moment, one in baseball. Nobody ever wants to see something like that. And Kersted's a tough son of a bitch, because he just got up and was like, guys, I'll come out of this game, but I'm back in the lineup tomorrow. So salute to him and shout out to him for being able to do that. And thankfully he's not, there wasn't anything worse in the situation. But it looked like, as he looked back, the Yankees then started chirping. I think you saw Nestor Cortez kind of barking a bit. And look, at that point, baseball's a funny game, right? Because nobody really ever gets fights and it gets full punches in. So it's very easy. Yes. It's very easy to run across, go charge. It's very easy to do that because it's going to get broken up. It's going to stop. Nobody's going to really get punches in or anything like that. And, I think maybe in that moment, like you said, it was also frustration on his part. And these are grown men. I always say that all the time. These are grown ass men. These are grown ass men, man. Sometimes attitudes get the best of us and, things get a little ugly. So I think I don't want to put the part of getting hit in the head. That's not good for baseball. But a rivalry between the Yankees and Orioles is very, very good for Major League Baseball. It's very, very good for Major League Baseball. It's good for both clubs. And I do think you're seeing the start of something that's going to be here for years to come. And I think Brendan Hyde was defending his player. And I simply leave it at that. Was there things done wrong? Should he have come out Clay Holmes? Probably not. But
I could tell.
I can see why.
Yeah.
I can still see why. In the moment it happens, and you're looking at him, go, man, fuck you. What are you doing? I could see it in that moment. I could understand it and see it. There's a little bit of blame to probably go around multiple areas, but at the end of the day, Kersted's okay, and I do think it is good for baseball and good for the rivalry.
Absolutely. And the thing that I noticed when I watched this post-game press conference too, like you can see when somebody reacted out of emotion and they had time
Correct.
to think about it.
Yep.
And they realized it probably wasn't the right thing to do, but they're still going to stand on business without necessarily, they're showing regret without saying they show regret.
Yeah.
And I came to the conclusion, I said, he escalated this whole thing just to light a fire underneath the team. Now, I had no problem with it from about 10:30 at night, or what time the game ended, till about 4 o'clock Saturday afternoon. Because once the Yankees exploded, the first thing I said, his charade came back and bit, and I came home, Pete, from the game and just. And I don't do this after Bengal playoff games. I came on here and I said, I'm doing an impromptu show where I'm literally just ripping this team to shred for 45 minutes. And I was like, what I did. And I came on here and I screamed. This came back to bite us in the ass because it charged up the Yankees and it gave the Yankees a cause, which is what it did. And my philosophy, because I also posted, the clip on Instagram Friday night when it happened, I said, it's great, but it came a little bit too late because the time that Brent Hyde probably should have went nuts, where it had no boomerang effect in terms of lighting up the Yankees, was on the home plate umpire, because the umpiring wasn't the best behind home plate.
Yeah, correct.
And one of my biggest critiques of when Hyde, and this is an area where Aaron Boone thrives and Brandon Hyde lacks, is ripping umpires.
Of course.
Because Aaron Boone, the one great thing he does do is that he knows how to fire up a scene by just going berserk on home plate umpires, which is a legit complimentary thing that I like about Aaron Boone, that I wish Brandon Hyde would do more often. Because more times you see Brandon Hyde, he'll say something, but he sits there, 95 degrees, humidity is up to the heavens. He's got a damn all black sweatshirt on, which makes I don't know whether the fact he's suffering from low T because he just turned 50. I don't know what the case is, but he's sitting there with a sweatshirt on, middle of July. It's hot as hell outside, and it's like Brandon, the team's not hitting. We're not doing anything well. Can you get off your tail and maybe scream at somebody and maybe have it not be the New York Yankees to fire him up? It legit bothered me. And Cade Povich, who I've said on this show many a times, I'm not impressed with. He pitches scared.
I use you a lot on that. When I see him pitch, I always say that. I was like, I got a good Orioles fan who's not too impressed with him. So let's see what he does today.
No, he's not good. It's like he's pitched against the Yankees twice. He's left a lot to be desired. He wasn't good in his debut up into run. It's just I've not been impressed by him by any stretch of the imagination. Yep. So, and then Saturday, Grace Rodriguez, and I think he's overrated myself personally. I think he pitches to strike out too much instead of trying to just do. Instead of just pitching, it's more like it's a strikeout competition. Let me see if I can blow Aaron Judge and blow Soto away with fastball. And then it's like and then on the home run pitches, he's sitting there hanging changeups right in the heart of the plate. It's like, it's like, what are you doing? Can you get outs, please, and stop trying to nibble and trying to strike out guys and just get outs? And when he's bad, he is horrendously bad. So so he's also in my.
Louis Hill for the Yankees that day, pitching a good game he did was desperately needed, because I still believe he is the rookie of the year for the American League. I mean, the guy's been amazing all year. Couple of tough outings, but a 3.170 ERA, great strikeout numbers, really turning into a legit pitcher. I don't know how many more innings he's going to go, but having that outing was major for him. He desperately needed that, so that's huge. I think he has back-to-back outings now, pitching really good. So maybe he's getting a bit back on track, but it'll be interesting to see how long the Yankees let him keep starting.
Right. Because you said right around the time Cole got back, you wouldn't be surprised if the Yankees put him in the bullpen.
I'm kind of shocked he's still there, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yep. We'll see it play itself out. Now, fast forward, and I think with Grayson too, a large thing that people, because an Oriole fan got, is like, show me, your information on how you prove Grayson's overrated. Well, look at his ERA of his last handful of starts, and that'll tell you the story. And people want to get wrapped up in his win-loss record. Yeah, because when Grayson pitches, he gets great run support, which masks and covers up the areas in which he doesn't, put together an A- or B+ game, it gets washed away because he's able to get fantastic run support. Saturday, the team offensively was lifeless and dead, got no run support, and you lost the game by 5 runs. This guy's his last 7 games, he's got even though he's got a 5-2 record, his ERA is almost at 5, 4.71, 42 innings worth of work, 39 hits and 22 runs and 10 walks. I mean, that's not good. It's not good. But anyway, you fast forward to Sunday, and Sunday comes around. You have Rodon on the mound, and we talked about his pitching woes earlier in the show. And the Orioles finally, for a change, they get off the deck with some home runs. Anthony Santander gonna go deep. They're nursing. They go into the top half of the 9th inning, nursing a 3-2 lead. And Craig Kimbrell comes.
I love seeing him come in.
I've said this, and let me take my glasses off when I say this. I've said this. I don't care how well he looks against the Mariners, against his old team, the Phillies, the A's. I'm not interested. By the time he should not be on this roster, should not be on the postseason roster come October the 1st. I don't want him anywhere near a playoff game. And that Sunday afternoon was the primary reason why. First off, my philosophy was the guy hasn't pitched in literally a week. Why didn't Brandon Hyde put him in the game in the 8th or the 9th inning, whatever it was, instead of Cino Perez? I mean, the Orioles were not, it wasn't a blowout on Friday night, but it wasn't like, they had the responsibility of nursing a 1 or 2 run deficit. Guy hasn't pitched at home in nearly 2 weeks, hasn't pitched in 6 days. Why not put him in the game just for him to get for him to get his reps in on Friday night or Saturday afternoon? Because it's like history tells us the Orioles and Yankees have played 3 set of series thus far. Correct. At least one game in every series has been a 1-run nail-biter game heading into the final frame. So if you see that, history would tell you that more likely than not, you're going to have to use your closer in this series. I don't care how poorly we were playing. And that's a perfect example. We had the lead for it, thank God, but you had to use your closer. And he hadn't pitched at home since 2 weeks prior, the Saturday, June the 29th against Texas. And the week before against the A's. So why wasn't Craig Kimbrell, this is a Brandon Hyde critique, why he didn't get any action in either of the first 2 games against the Yankees when he hadn't pitched in a long time made no sense to me. He goes in there, bottom of the order, and he gives up back-to-back walks to start the inning with nobody out. And it's like the moment it happened, I tweeted, I said, Craig Kimbrell really wants us to lose this game.
I always say stuff like that. He's handing the game over on a silver platter. He's not even he's just giving it over.
And if there's one Yankee not named Soto or Judge that is going to punish you, it's been Ben Rice, who's been, like I said, Roger Maris for the last few weeks. And lo and behold, 3-run home run to put the Yankees up by 2. And Pete, I'm watching it with the asinine Roku channel. I got it on my phone. I'm sitting in this chair watching it, and my heart rate is through the roof. I didn't say a word. They stunned me to silence. And I'm like, we're going to lose 6 games in a row heading into the All-Star break. The Yankees are going to be in first place. And this team is in some deep shit right here. And then the bottom of the 9th inning comes around.
Oh, yeah. Here we go.
Enter Clay Holmes.
There he is. He's not too far off from Kimbrell. I'll tell you that much.
Leadoff single. Fielder's choice. Outs here and there. He's got 2 outs. Ryan Mountcastle comes up to the plate. How Anthony Volpe makes that mistake? It's like, well, I got to shuffle my feet. No, you just make the play. You make the play.
It's right to you. Stop it. I'm sick of the excuses. That's the same shit that you hear all the time with these guys. Sit there and say it's a play that 100% of shortstops in the league makes easily. I need to make that play. I'm a major leaguer. I don't want to hear bullshit about shuffling your feet. You missed the damn play. You blew the game. You know what I mean? Clay Holmes put guys on base. I get it, but he got out of it. And that's one thing I agree with Aaron Boone on. Aaron Boone said, yeah, you don't want to put guys on base, but he did get the ground ball. And he did. That is the reality of it.
He
Was
did.
it a great outing by Holmes? No, not at all. Is this more of the same from Clay Holmes? Yeah, of course it is. He's not a closer.
Yes.
I've been saying it for a long time. He's not a closer. Fact of the matter is he did get the ground ball that would have finished the game. The Yankees would have got a sweep. Anthony Volpe booted. Not a ball he had to shift to his left. Not a ball he had to shift to his right. A ground ball hit right to him. And he botched it. It's that simple. He botched it. He choked. In that moment, he choked. And that's a play that has to be made every single time. And it's just more of what's going on right now with the Yankees. It's more of the same crap. They're fumbling. They're having such a great way it would have been to finish the first half in first place after all of our struggles, to sit there and go, we just swept the team that we're going to be competing with. The way it goes, it almost feels like, yeah, we won the series, but who gives a shit? With the way it ended, who cares? I mean, they left with the momentum. We're going down, walking into the tunnel, losing, and we don't play again until Friday. So we sit on this the whole time. More of the same. It's just a bad taste in your mouth. And then Alex Verdugo gets a fly ball that he breaks in on, and by the time he goes back, he's tripping over his own feet, and the ball goes over his head. And once Volpe made the error, I said it on the stream. I said, this game's over. There's no way. This game's over. There's no way. I don't care who's up. The game's over. They're losing. And, to Baltimore's credit, they did what they had to do, and they won a game. They won a game. Clay Holmes has not been great. He is not a closer. I said it that day. I think it's upsetting that he even went to the All-Star game. And Bruce Bochy is such a smart guy. He didn't even use him. He said, I want to win. I'm not using Clay Holmes. What are you, nuts?
In a game that doesn't matter, he said, Clay, you sit your ass on that bench. Yeah. You ain't entering this game.
I'm not. He said, I'm not Aaron Boone. He said, I'm not Aaron Boone. You're not coming in this game in a 2-run lead. We'll go to Emmanuel Clase. We'll go to whoever else we go to, and that's it. We'll finish it off that way. You can take the day off. You're good. Don't worry about it. And it's another thing, man. It's more of the same. It's more of the same. The Yankees again getting in their own way. Clay Holmes is a very good reliever. He's not a closer. He doesn't miss bats. He doesn't. So I got a couple of stats for you regarding Clay Holmes that I think is going to open up the eyes of a lot of people. I did this on a show recently. Out of all the closers in baseball, the guys that have saves, that have, I think maybe 30 plus innings pitched, something around that line, nobody has given up more hits than Clay Holmes. Nobody has a higher opponent batting average against than Clay Holmes. He gives up the most hits out of any closer in Major League Baseball. In Major League Baseball. Not like this is a bad stretch. No, this is a guy who gives up far too many base runners to be a closer. It's that simple.
And the key with him is that, and listen, Craig Kimbrell is trash, but Craig Kimbrell, when he is on his game, he misses bats. He strikes out people. Clay Holmes doesn't strike out people. And when you have an infield, that isn't as fundamentally sound as they should be, whether it's Volpe at shortstop, whether it's Torres at second, but even though he, obviously had nothing to do with the loss, but historically, he's throughout the season, he's had his problems at second base for the Yankees this season defensively. Yeah. And of course, Alex Verdugo, walking around with the chains and everything. I can't stand Verdugo as far as I can throw him.
Yeah.
Me and you both put together are more handsome than that son bitch ever be. And it's like, good Lord, is he ugly. First step is always back. You get taught this in the Major League draft. The MLB draft was later that night. Yeah. I could find high schoolers that got snubbed from the draft on Sunday night that could make that play. First step is always back. He takes 1-2 steps, and by the time he realizes it's too late, he ain't swift enough, light enough on his feet, eats turf, and becomes a meme.
It sucks too because he's been one of the best defensive left fielders in baseball this year. So for him to be struggling with the bat the way he is, you gotta come with the glove, and there really isn't a leeway in that regard. And it's the same thing with Anthony Volpe. When you're one of the worst offensive players in the league, bro, you got to make a play that's hit right to you. And again, I don't want to hear about a shuffling of feet. I want to simply hear you go, guys, I cost us this game. This game's on me. Forget about Clay Holmes and anybody, and even Verdugo at the end. The play is on me. I got a ground ball hit directly to me. I'm not hitting. I'm not fielding. I'm not doing shit to help this club. Man, that's my issue again with that. Verdugo at the end of the game is saying it's my fault. At least he's sitting there to the media going, this is on me. That's a catchable ball. That's on me. I messed up. This is my fault. Anthony Volpe's out there talking about shuffling his feet. Like who cares? What are you dancing?
Being all analytical about
Nobody
it.
wants to hear that mess.
Just be direct. Be direct. Like
Stop
trying to use these, stop trying to prove how smart you are and try to be all analytical and be so detailed to explain the simple. We know what the simple is. We watch the simple. You got a simple result.
Yeah.
Stop wasting time. But I think the Orioles-Yankees rivalry, it's great for the sport because so many times you hear about Yankees, I get beat over the head, Yankees, Red Sox, Yankees, Red Sox, Yankees, Red Sox, Yankees and Dodgers and Giants. You hear all the, Astros, Yankees reason. You hear all of that with all the other rivalries. And it's like, hey, I understand, little Baltimore that's, right there sitting on the Eastern Seaboard, but it's like this is a team that you can't write the history of me. I tell it all the time with the Orioles. I understand that, that they haven't won a World Series in 40-something years, but this is a franchise where you can't write the history of the sport without putting the Baltimore Orioles into the conversation.
That's right.
And this, and back in the day in the 70s, we beat the Yankees like we beat the old Yankee fans that lived it and saw it. They'll tell you, the Orioles beat the Yankees like a drum back in the day.
Yeah.
So you have that, and of course, a little bit of a spark in the mid late 90s, obviously with the 98 fight with Benitez, everybody else. So it's like it's good for the sport. Moment. Yes, it's great for the sport that you have these two teams. Duking it out for the division, World Series contenders at the same time. They both have two top 10 players in the top 10, top 5 players in the sport, and Gunnar and Adley, and Judge and Soto. Yep. It's just it's great. The fan bases now. I would like, if I were to change anything, I'm getting a little bit sick and tired of having the building be 60-40, Oriole fans to Yankee fans, Oriole Park. That's getting a little old. But outside of that, listen, if you were to say this is going to be your ALCS for the next few years, perfectly fine by me.
No doubt
it's
about
exactly the way it's supposed to be.
Yep.
And the fact that we have a new owner makes it elevates it.
Oh too. Yeah.
Because you're going to have the absolutely.
Yeah. You guys got to be happy about that. And I've said this to you before about that. And I've always given love to Baltimore. Obviously, fan base, Yankee fan base and Oriole fan bases are fan bases. So you're gonna have your I'm trying to put a good way of putting this, but you're gonna have your dumbass fans and your dumbass fans, and your good fans and your good fans. And a lot of the takes I've seen from now, you're seeing more kind of Orioles content creators kind of come out a little more, and you hear some of the stuff that is said, and you're like, all right, I can separate the smart ones from the ones that are all right. You're just trying to cause some controversy over nonsense. But it's great for baseball. Baltimore, like you said, have a very, very long history. They still have one of the best ballparks in Major League Baseball. I don't care what anybody says. The Inner Harbor is a great area to go to. It's a beautiful area to visit. There's a lot there that Baltimore can do, and I really hope the Orioles could help bring a lot to the area, even more so with them being a better club and getting more eyes on the Baltimore Orioles. Great organization, great fan base, a great young team coming up, and they only have more on the way. I again believe the deadline is going to separate the two. If the Orioles add a Tariq Skubal, I think that is gigantic. And if I'm Baltimore and I'm the Baltimore Orioles, from what I know on the club already, and I want to make a statement, that is your statement. That is the direct statement to make among baseballs. If you go out there and you added one of the top starting pitchers in Major League Baseball already to pair with Corbin Burns, now you're sitting back there looking at that and going, holy shit. Now that's a World Series move. And if I'm the
Yep.
new owners, I would say that's what we need to show. We can't go out there and make simple moves. We got to make a World Series move.
Make
And
a
hey,
splash. Yeah.
see what it would take. See what it would take. And, you know, a team like the Orioles could do it. Because you could look at the roster now and go, well, if we lose one or two of these guys, there's other guys there that easily fill in. I mean, we're not losing Gunnar. We're not losing Adley. We're not losing Westberg. We're not losing all of these guys. Kauser or Kirsten will likely be able to keep one of those guys. But it hurts to make big moves. But if I'm the Baltimore Orioles, I'm making it hurt. And I'm adding a World Series type move. And I'm letting this team understand it. This ain't Angelos' Orioles anymore. You know what I mean? We're different now. And it also makes the Yankees sit back and go, fuck. Like,
right.
Do we trade Spencer Jones? Then now do we react almost to that? Do we get rid of Jones and add a big name or two? I think the Yankees also have to, and I think the Yankees got to make it hurt. And can the Yankees get Tarik Skubal if they wanted to trade Jones, Dominguez plus maybe? But I think the Orioles are the prime team set up to make that move. And the Yankees can't necessarily react, but what they have to do is be very aggressive and not
aggressive
be scared,
and proactive.
Exactly, and not be scared to lose some things. Because I'll say this right now, and I'll make this prediction. If the Yankees let's say they added a third baseman and DJ LeMahieu's out of that lineup, they get Jason Dominguez back. And now you're looking at a lineup. They get Stanton back. He's healthy. You're looking at a maybe one of the best, if not the best, offenses in Major League Baseball, which what the Yankees would almost automatically become if they add that additional. You'd maybe a Luis Rengifo as the third baseman, something along the not this major, oh my God, move, but major upgrade for the position, major offensive upgrade. If you do stuff like that, and Jason Dominguez is who we think Dominguez could be, and Stanton could keep being who he was, and even if he regressed a little bit, it's still a major improvement. Ben Rice keeps playing good at first base. You're looking at a much more youthful, much more faster, much more dynamic club. Anthony Volpe's then your number 9 hitter, and you just let him be. Let him do what he has to do and leave him alone. You're looking at a much more formidable team. If they add a lefty reliever out of the bullpen and call some of their youth up to handle the bullpen, like every other major league club is doing, they're a much better club. So I think it really comes down to the deadline. I said this before a pitch was even thrown, that it's going to be the deadline that is going to separate the pack. And Baltimore's in a prime position to do it, but the Yankees are in a prime position to be smart, make some moves, and truly, truly improve their club also. So it's going to be a very, very fun time. I cannot wait to see what these teams look like after the deadline.
I can't wait either. And I tell you, as a native 410 forever, if this team gets to the World Series and if they win it, like, I understand people because it's like, oh, Lamar Jackson, Ravens.
Yeah.
The Ravens, they matter in this city. Like, they are the heart and soul of this city from, you know, during the fall and the winter. But there are ways in which the Orioles have a certain hold on this city that the Ravens, I don't think, won't have for another 50, 60 years or so. Yeah. They've been here for 70 years. They were the only game in town when Baltimore didn't have an NFL team.
Right.
And we're the only game in town when we long lost the NBA back in the late 70s. And it's the historical piece, you know. Multiple generations of Oriole fans.
Yeah.
The ballpark, the uniforms, Cal Ripken, the great Hall of Famer. And I was up at had club level seats to the game on Saturday, and you see the photographs. You see Earl, you see Eddie, you see Cal, you see Frank. It's a franchise that has been in the toilet for so long that is just waiting to have its Jay-Z allow me to reintroduce myself moment back to the baseball. And when that happens, I think this team will reach heights that they haven't experienced in a long, long time. And because of the times we live in, will top the days in the 60s, in the 70s, and the early 80s, back obviously pre-social media and pre-internet. But if Rubenstein has an opportunity to make himself, like you said, Hal has an opportunity to make himself a hero with Yankee fans, Rubenstein has the opportunity to do the same thing. He said he's going to expand payroll, but if he and Elias find a way to make sure that the Orioles are a cornerstone within the baseball world for the next decade plus, I get chills and there's a smile on my face just thinking about it and just talking about it. Last thing, Pete, before go ahead.
No, I was just I was simply gonna just add to what you're saying is, and the Baltimore Orioles now also have a star that they can all look at, that all those younger fans get to look up to. It was Cal Ripken years ago. You know, they didn't have that chant that they ran into the dynasty Yankee years, and even prior to that. But to have guys like Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman, these young players coming up that these younger generation of kids get to grow up with now, and maybe in a great time of Orioles baseball, is only great for the city. I mean, that's a huge thing for the city of Baltimore now. Maybe in 7 years or 6 years, Gunnar Henderson will be playing shortstop for the Yankees. But I don't know. Let me also have a chance. I dream about that.
Not happening. Not happening, Pete. No.
I had to get my Josh Donaldson in. I'm sorry, just a little bit.
You had your chance with Manny Machado, and you chose Giancarlo Stanton. Not happening.
Man, don't take me back to those days.
Well, I got one final question for you. This team, we play each other final week of the season in September. Is there a possibility? Is there a possibility that I could be with yours truly being you, for a game season live of Orioles Yankees in September?
100%. 100%. You got it. Yeah, definitely locked in. That's definitely locked in. You're the only Orioles fan that I would allow that.
Looking forward to it, baby. Let's go. Let's get it. I'm happy to hear that.
The only Oriole fan I will allow that is you 100%. You know, you've obviously, I think it's fun too, because I think you obviously recognize that when you listen to me and hear me do what I do, there's not a bias to us over here. You know, we'll tell you the truth. I've been, again, in our first show of the year, my prediction was I think the Orioles are going to win the division. As a Yankee fan, I could simply just go, the Yankees are going to win. The Yankees are going to win the World Series. Yeah, that's my prediction. My prediction was and for any Yankee fan who had a problem with me saying that, because there was a lot of them, Derek Jeter himself picked the Orioles to represent the American League in the World Series this year. So don't be coming at me when the captain of all captains is saying the Baltimore Orioles are going to win the pennant this year and go to the World Series representing the American League. He did have him losing to the Phillies, but still, he still has the Orioles going. And my early season prediction is no different than it is now. The Orioles are in first place. The Yankees are in second place. I said the deadline is going to make the difference, and that's what I truly believe is going to make the difference. So we're going to see. It's going to be interesting. And come that time when, you come on that game season and we have Orioles representation, I really hope it's a close race. I hope it's very, very close. And I hope there's a lot depending on that series. So it'll be exciting.
Your lips to God's ears. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, sir.
The great Pete Simonetti of NYY Underground. And that is another episode of the I'm Telling Catalia's podcast in the books. Like the show, new to it, please don't hesitate to subscribe to me and Pete. Subscribe to our brand new I'm Telling Catalia's YouTube channel down below. Hit that like button, share it with your friends and family as well. And until next time, peace. We are gone.